2022 saw some incredible releases for tabletop RPGs, and we're here today to give you our top 5 choices, our top 5 picks of 2022. Jason's going to join me here in a second, so stick around. We're going to give you our top 5, and maybe there might be some crossover. We'll see. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Today on the show, we're doing our top 5 tabletop RPGs of 2022. This is probably a little bit later than we probably should have had it out, but we definitely wanted to make sure that all of the entries for 2022 were out and we could nominate and select as many as we could possibly put on our lists. Sometimes we do a top 10 list. I thought this year we do some top 5s, just so in that way, and we bring on second person, so it kind of gives you a top 10 list when you combine the 2 lists together. We'll see. There might even be some crossover on these lists, so be on the lookout for that. But yeah, it's been a great year for a tabletop RPG. Some really great releases. Some stuff that was delayed, from 2021 and finally released in 2022. Some stuff that got out, right on time too, so that was great to see as well. I'm going to remind folks that if you enjoyed these top 5 lists, hit that like button down below, and if you are coming across our content for the very first time, hit that subscribe button. We'd love to have you as part of our VCG community, where we do all sorts of content, actual play reviews, interviews, just all sorts of stuff here on this show that just focuses on tabletop RPGs and games. All right, so without further ado, I always say that a lot, but without further ado, let's bring on Jason to do our top 5 lists of RPGs of 2022.
Yes.
Jason, what's going on tonight?
I am super happy that games are flowing again.
They are. It was great to see. Yeah.
After all the snafus and fumbles and goofiness of the past couple of years with shipping and distribution and paper costs and all the logistics, it's nice that things are finally getting moving again and new things are arriving to people.
Absolutely. If there are any, before we dive into our list, I'm going to remind folks that if there's any entries or any games that we don't mention, and that because like I said, we only did 5 each, so some of it we had to kind of
hard to pick.
Yeah, it was hard to pick 5. But if there's any games that we did not pick, and put them in the comments, let us know. Probably, I'm hoping that some of them would have been, would have been later on our list if we did top 10 lists. So anyway, all right. Oh, Dirigo says got our avatar shipping notice yesterday. Awesome.
That's awesome. I heard it was supposed to start shipping in January.
Yeah. So.
Good to know.
All right, Jason, I'm going to let you go first, and you can give your top 5. You want to go with number 5?
Yeah, we'll start off with number 5. My number 5 is
later on my list.
Is later on Doug's list. Do we want to talk about it now?
No,
we don't want to talk about it now.
No, we'll wait.
Okay, we'll wait. All right.
Yeah, this is higher up on my list. Let's wait off. So this is the one game that did cross over our top 5.
Yes,
and it was nice to see that it was on both of our lists. We'll see what it is. Put a comment in the chat if you can guess what.
If you would like to guess,
I would love to see what people guess it is. So Jason's number 5 is higher up on my list. So I guess I will start with number 5.
You will.
My number 5 is I kind of have a number 5 A and B.
Cheating.
I know, and the reason for this is because it uses the same system. I feel like it's like trying to pick your favorite kid, as a parent. These are 2 different IPs that I grew up with that are a big part of my childhood. And when this was announced, I was super, super excited about it. And I just couldn't. I couldn't pick one of them or the other.
Can't pick between your favorite kids.
I am as you can see behind me, I'm a big Transformers nerd. So, and I love G.I. Joe. So my number 5 is from Renegade Game Studios. It is the Transformers or G.I. Joe role-playing game from Renegade. Even though I'm not a huge fan of this Essence 20 system that they've built, and now that all this other stuff is coming out the beginning of this year, it kind of is smart on their part to do an Essence 20 system now, looking back on it. So yeah, it's a D20 system that also has like a secondary die. The secondary die, depending on how good you are in that attribute or skill, it goes up all the way, I think all the way up to a D12. And yeah, it's not quite as elegant a system as I would like, but I am super pumped that we're getting RPGs based on cartoons that I grew up with. I watched Transformers and G.I. Joe all the time growing up. I even there was some mornings, I would be late to school because I'd be watching Transformers episodes, and my mom would have to pull me out of the house just to get to school.
I used to sprint home from school, literally, because I knew I got into school.
We used to have them at the end of the day too.
School ended at 3, and I had to be home for 3:30 because at 3:30 G.I. Joe came on, and at 4 o'clock Transformers was on.
The fact that you can play as these and role play as these characters that you maybe, and then you're not really playing just like the Star Wars RPG. You're not probably going to be playing the characters that that are tied to the IP. You're kind of making up your own characters.
Just to interact with them,
because it kind of lets you do your own thing. We've done our own. I did my own Transformers RPG with the Cortex system. I thought that was fun. I gave it a little, very G1-ish feel, because those episodes were very, very wacky. So I think that this system does a pretty good job of capturing that. I don't really like how you can just play, the G.I. Joes or the Autobots, because I feel like some of the cool parts of those IPs are the bad guys. But
that's tough to play in a group, though.
What's that?
That's tough to play in a group. If you want to play two G.I. Joes and two guys from Cobra,
But we've seen episodes where some of those characters have switched sides before. Dinobot and Beast Wars switched over to the Autobots. Jetfire, in G1 was originally a Decepticon, and he became an Autobot. So I would love to see, I guess you could just kind of make that as you kind of homebrew it and stuff. The other thing that I would do,
just game mechanics you could introduce to play that as well,
Yeah, I don't think it would be that hard. It just would have been nice to have a little bit more of that. The other thing that I'm sure that they're probably going to have a Beast supplement, so you can play as the Beast Wars era characters, those types of characters. And then the combiners, that'll probably be its own supplement too. They kind of reference the combiners in the core rulebook for Transformers. I know I'm going to talk a lot about Transformers just because that one's the one that came out the last, and that's the one I just read most recently. But yeah, I had to put it on my list just because of that nostalgia factor, and I'm buying all the supplements for these games just because I want to support the line, because I'd rather have some sort of Transformers or G.I. Joe RPG out in the market than none at all, because
sometimes just even a moderate amount of support to a system will keep it going.
Exactly.
It doesn't take a lot. Even if you just buy the core book and walk away and just take some ideas from it and use it as inspiration for something else.
Yeah, I've got them all.
It tells the publisher that there's value to the line, and if everybody does something like that, then it will continue and be refined and expanded, and that's what you want in your games.
In the collector side of me and the uber fan of both IPs, I went out and bought the really nice collector's edition books so that I could have them on my shelf.
But I don't see any G.I. Joes on the shelf behind you.
I don't have any G.I. Joes on my shelf. I did have some at one point. I've got a lot of the classified line that Hasbro just put out. But I don't have them on display.
I had all my Kung Fu grip guys.
Sure. So yeah, so my collector's copies are on the shelf, and then I use the standard editions for just reference and for reading and all that and for playing. So yeah, I could not put it on my list. It had to be on my list at some point, and why not put it at number
He
number
wouldn't
5?
be Doug if there wasn't a Transformer or a GI Joe in there somewhere.
I love those IPs, and I really hope that we see more of that. I mean, the new Earthspark show for Transformers is pretty solid, and supposedly they're putting out some new GI Joe shows. And
I heard that there was a rumor that they were working on something from an. I'm not sure if it's going to be the same style of animation as the newer Transformers shows, where it's like that. What do they call it? Like, cell shaded. CGI kind of thing.
Yeah,
I think that might be a cool way to treat GI Joe.
Yeah, I don't know. I just liked all that stuff. So yeah, that made my list. Number 5, Renegade Game Studios, Transformers, and GI Joe. I did play the Power Rangers RPG. I didn't really grow up with Power Rangers. We played it on the show. It was fine. We had a good time. But
if you liked Transformers and GI Joe, you generally didn't like the Power Rangers.
Yeah,
they were two very different crowds, despite being in the same overall genre at competing for your sales dollars.
And I will say that first book felt like it was more of like one of their first. It felt like one of their first RPG books. I felt like they definitely refined some things for the GI Joe and the Transformers, and it felt like a more finished product for those product lines.
For sure, yeah, for sure.
Transformers, GI Joe, my number 5, A and B for my top 5 RPGs of 2022.
I didn't do any A and Bs.
That's all right. I kind of filled in for our overlap there.
Oh yeah, okay, fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So you go ahead with your number 4, my friend.
My number 4 is an interesting twist on games. It's Carbon Gray from West End Games. It is based in a 1900s era world that never happened. It's diesel punk with a little bit of mysticism thrown in. Uses the D6 system. Again, they use a variation of it because it's from Magnetic Press Play. They use a variation of it called the Magnetic system, which uses the D6 pool system, which is a system that brought Star Wars to fame many years ago. They've basically stripped it back to its basics, and it's just a pool system. You have 3d6 in dexterity, and you have a target number to roll over, and that's basically the rule set right there. So you build your dice pool out of your skills and your whatever ability goes with it. Check any modifiers, roll your dice, and you're done. You only need d6 to play. Nothing too complicated. And it's very... they take a lot from 1900s era Earth in that there's Axis and allies fighting against each other. Their reasons for fighting are somewhat different, but it's very trench warfare, down and dirty. Like if you've ever seen the difference between steampunk and dieselpunk, steampunk is more austere and refined and Renaissance based. Dieselpunk is very down and dirty and gritty and, messy.
Yeah, no, this would have been probably my 6th or 7th on my list for if we did a top 10 list. This is a gorgeous book, by the way. It's really well done. And Jason, you want to show the corners of?
Yes, actually, here I'll show you. Open up.
Take a look at this.
Like this is the corner. The top corner of the book is rounded, and all of the pages inside are also rounded edges.
Like that's just like one of those little design things.
It makes the whole, and it's 100% saddle stitched as well inside. So this book lays perfectly flat on the table. You don't have to fold pages or anything.
Yeah, it's just a great product, and this is Magnetic Press Play's first foray into the RPG.
First shot at it, and they did that.
Kudos to them. Like I'm super pumped for whatever else they want to put out because I didn't know I needed rounded corners on my RPG books until that product.
It feels so like it. Well, it doesn't even feel nice. It just when you open the book up, it looks just so much cooler.
It's laid out, and of course, this is based on a graphic novel as well.
Yes, an excellent graphic novel.
Yes, and it just sucks you right in. It's just so well laid out. Like Gasca did a great job on this game, and I'm so pumped that they brought back the West End Games D6 system.
It needs all the love in the world. It is such a good system.
I hope now, because of everything that's going on, we get to see more of this West End game system. One thing we should also mention is that not only did they put out a book, an RPG of this, but they also put out a deluxe box set, which is amazing. If you love this setting at all, like if this setting at all interests you and you want to pick up the RPG book, you should definitely pick up you should definitely take a look at it. I'm not going to say you should definitely pick it up because you know your financial situation, but the minis are great.
Look at how gorgeous those dice are. Those dice are amazing.
It's got awesome, like the cards are really well done. It's got a hardcover copy of the RPG book in the bottom of the box.
Yep.
Like so
you're not getting the like 35-page stripped down version of the rules. You're still getting everything.
Exactly. It's a terrific product.
And there's not so many minis that you're never going to paint them.
Probably.
That is a great selling point.
Yeah.
Like there's only, I think, 15 minis total in the box with all the little bits and bobs you get with it. So that, like, you can have those painted in a couple days tops. So you don't have to look at it as like, oh my God, I'm never going to get to this.
This game, more people should be talking about this game.
I'm honestly surprised, given the popularity of Star Wars from West End and its D6 system, I'm surprised that the Star Wars fans didn't leap on this.
I think had this been a bigger IP, like this is a game that would have probably been in top 3, like it'd be a top 3 candidate on almost every single content creators list. But I think since Carbon Gray is kind of like I wouldn't say it's not well known, but it's like one of those things that if you're like really into the whole graphic novel scene.
If you like steampunk or diesel punk, you've definitely heard of Carbon Gray.
Exactly.
But beyond that, maybe not.
Yeah. But it's super well done. Gasket made a solo RPG book for it. That's
actually you can play the solo mode with just the core book.
Yeah. I mean, the dude just thought of everything for this game, and I want to see more of this from Magnetic Press Play. I can't wait to see what their next endeavor is.
The instructions in the book also are very player friendly. Like there's nothing convoluted or complicated because it's a simple rule system to start with. But when they speak to you as the reader, they speak to you as a gamer and not just a purchaser. Like there's a point in the book where they actually mention like, hey, go raid your closets for more D6. Even though we include 2 perfectly good sets with the game, you're probably going to want more just in case, and it's just little comments like that throughout the book where it's like, just, like something like, hey, you're a gamer, you're going to need an extra one of these. So, add one.
It's a terrific set. It's a terrific game.
The art's amazing. Even the pages, actually, they did higher production quality on the pages even.
Yeah.
Like it's not your standard, like if you have a player's handbook, for instance, those pages are not bad. They're okay. They feel all right. But these pages, they feel deluxe. Like they feel nice in your hands, like just flipping through it.
Yeah. I can't speak highly enough of this game, and it just barely missed my top 5. Like it really would have been either 6 or 7 on my list. And in fact, if we probably did honorable mentions, it definitely would have been mentioned in that. So I'm glad that it was on your top 5. It should be on many more content creators' top 3 or 5 lists in general for 2022. And I'll tell you what, Magnetic Press Play. Let's take a look and see this time next year.
Yeah.
Let's see if they've got anything else in the works, because if they do, it might be something that's on.
I would, even if they decide to continue, like if they happen to enjoy the look and everything for this one and let them play in the Star Wars world, I would not be sad to own some Star Wars books with that production quality, and especially if they do around the corners again.
Could you imagine the craze that would happen in this industry and in this hobby if they got this? Like so many people play the old version of Star Wars D6. There.
Like there's a whole, I don't even want to say underground. There's a whole online community that loves that original version of the game so much that the rules have been updated. They have a living rule book online. Like there's whole massive communities around it because it's one of those systems that stands the test of time. It doesn't feel silly. It doesn't feel too easy. It doesn't feel too complicated. It's functional. It does the job properly. And people realize that and just keep chugging away at it, which is awesome.
Super excited. Let's number 4, very well worthy, and hopefully more people will take a look at it now, because it's definitely high up on my list as well. So my number 4, my number 4 is a game that I'm surprised doesn't have more buzz. With Mork Borg being as popular as it is, I'm surprised that this game hasn't just taken off as well, because this is it feels kind of more Borgy in a way. It's very indie. It's very rules light. It's very kind of dark. It's an amazing book. As soon as I saw it in person, I had to get a physical copy because I bought it in PDF and I loved it. And as soon as I saw it in person, I was like, oh my God, this book is terrific. Just like Carving Gray, this book is gold, like just in the production value. And that book is Mazes from Ninth Level. This game, I'll tell you what, if you don't have a copy of Mazes, you should go pick it up. It is super, super rad. You basically your archetype is like a specific die, and it is so good. We did it on the show when they did the Kickstarter.
I think it kind of did us more than we did it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
If we're being fair.
Absolutely. It's got the interior of the book is like that, like paper, but it's like, and it's black and white, but it's so old school, but yet new kind of school mechanics.
Yeah.
It feels.
Yeah, that's it. It feels like an old book you'd find at the back of some random bookstore, but it plays beautifully.
Yeah. And I can't stress this enough. The production quality of the book is amazing. Ninth Level is kind of known for doing some like I don't want to say lower end, but like lower price point, I guess.
Less flash.
Yeah, they're a little bit less flashy. So when I saw this book in person, I was like, holy crap! Ninth Level just upped their game, and they're like going after the industry, and they're going to show people that you can make like an indie RPG that is rules light, that is super fun, that is kind of dark and creepy a little bit.
It can be.
Yeah, I mean it's not quite that, but it's definitely more fantasy. And just put it in a really nice package in that book. And so
And if you backed it on the Kickstarter, it came with these really chunky, huge dice. They were so cool.
Yeah. I can't stress this enough. Again, I love this industry and how everybody's just going for it with production values. Like that's what's gonna this industry, you can get away with charging a little bit more when you have a really nice product, like as far as production wise. So I love the fact that people are taking that into consideration when they're making these games. And so like people like Magnetic Press Play, like Ninth Level, they're making not only just great games, but really nice products to put in your hands. Like the whole industry needs that. Like I know people are out there doing this but man,
it doesn't take a ton to really make a unique product. It really it's not like you have to spend an extra $150,000 on paper costs or production values or anything like that. Just small adjustments to make it unique and to make it feel like it belongs in that game.
Exactly.
Will sell product for you all by itself.
Absolutely. So my number 4, Mazes from Ninth Level Games. Chris, you're my guy. Great job.
He actually said at the end of that adventure that we played that we were the only group that he had ever run through that initial adventure who missed every single clue.
Yeah, I mean, which it seems about right.
It's very appropriate for us, yes.
Yeah, well. All right, Jason, your number 3.
My number 3 goes with the background in my virtual display right now. This is actually something that you got if you backed the Kickstarter. My number 3 is Ironsworn Starforged. It is a beautiful game from Tompkin Press, Sean Tompkin being the man who actually did most of the production on it. It is the sci-fi version of the original Iron Sworn, which was actually a gritty, grimdark hack and slash, sword and sorcery sort of game. Similar play systems, very simple rule set. That is what you got if you back to Kickstarter that you're seeing on the screen right now. You got the PDF, you got the physical copy of the book. It is a small book, though. It's similar in size to Mazes or Tiny Dungeon, if you've ever had Tiny Dungeon. The reference guide is all of the major tables that you need in the game in a nice coil-bound book. And the cards for it are all just data cards for your own use. So if you get an item, you can just grab the card and keep the card handy instead of having to transfer all that information to your character sheet. You can play this game anywhere up to, I think they recommend no more than 4 or 5 players, actually. One person running the game, 2 to 3 people playing. Less than that works just fine, and there is a solo mode that is very well thought out. I'm actually going to be starting a solo campaign for myself. I've played the original Iron Sworn actually before, and I really enjoyed that quite a bit. But this is a great game if you ever wanted to be just a random explorer on your own, like a single guy on a ship, just exploring space and seeing what comes of your life. This is an excellent system for it, and it's got a really great dice mechanic system. It's just a D6 and 2 D10. That's all the dice you ever need. You roll your D6. That's your own dice. You modify that dice. You roll 2 D10, and if either of the D10 come up with a result less than what you rolled, that's a success. If both of them are lower, that's a great success. You get partial successes, and then you can get misses. And you narrate your own game with this. So you decide if you miss something, or if you have a partial success and you're trying to do something, you decide with some prompts on the cards, actually, and from the rules themselves in every situation, what comes of that, and then you progress the story based on that. So it's like a guided solo role-playing game, and it is awesome. The book reads wonderfully.
So this is an RPG. I'll be honest. I'll let folks know that this is an RPG on Kickstarter that I backed at the PDF level, and I regret not getting the physical copies. This is one of the ones where I'm just like, God dang it! I should have got the physical copies.
I was very impressed.
PDFs.
Oh yeah, there's lots of PDFs that come with it. There's actually complete play assets for it too, so you can just print for yourself, or you can even write it out if you really want to. The sheet's not that complicated, but it comes with all the print and play assets you could possibly need for it, and they're all easy. They're all black and white. There's no, you're not going to spend a fortune printing these suckers at your local Kinko's, or I think you guys have Kinko's in America, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, your local printer, you're not going to lose a lot of money printing these things out.
I'll probably pick up a physical copy here when I get a second. Again, it's a sci-fi RPG, and I knew I should have just bit the bullet and pledged and got the physical copy as well. But it is what it is. I just sometimes you
can't back everything at the physical level.
Exactly. I do like to support a lot of RPG publishers, and I have kind of pulled back and just backed at PDF levels on a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I've had to do that myself this year
just because I want to support them in some way, shape, or form. But this is one that I was like, oh man, I should have gotten it. But I've got a lot of sci-fi RPGs, so I'm not super bummed.
It's been a great year for that genre, actually.
So,
just in general.
Oh well, this is one that Jason. Since Jason is bragging about it so much, I'm going to have to pick up a physical copy. I blame Jason this time instead of Jason.
Yeah, actually, 9 times out of 10, it's Doug influencing me. This time, it's my turn. At least this is a cheap one, Doug.
All right, my number 3 is a game that it's popular. It's a popular game. I didn't think I was gonna like it. I'm not a big fan of this IP. I just know that the community is really big on this one. And when we announced that, when Free League announced that we got the rights to this game, to partner with Sophisticated Games, I knew it was going to be a really nice looking product. I didn't think that the rule set was going to be something I'd be into, but my number 3 is the One Ring. second edition from Freely Publishing / Sophisticated Games. This was so much more fun than I anticipated. We played this on the show. We did the adventures out of the starter set, and I had a blast. Like the rule system for this game just feels right for this IP. I don't know how, just like Alien does with the D6s, this system feels right for the Tolkien, universe. It's beautifully laid out. It won an Emmy for interior art. I love the fact that they kind of gave it that this look of like that it's like from that era, and then you've got that beautiful splash color illustrations from, I think they're from Martin Grip, that are on the titles for the chapter title pages.
Mm-hmm. Almost every 2-page spread is literally a spread too, which is really cool.
Yeah.
So when you lay the book out on an individual page, it looks like just a single scroll of parchment.
I didn't think, I figured this would probably make my top 10 list, when games were being released. I didn't think it was going to be this high. And man,
I'm surprised actually, because I remember when it first came out and you guys were doing the actual play, because that was one that I wasn't in. You were all like, it's it's the One Ring, in typical Doug fashion. You weren't enthused by it.
Like, my wife's a huge Tolkien fan. She's read all the books. She's watched all the movies. We were watching Rings of Power. Like, she loves it. Like, and I don't mind it. It's fine. Like, I'd rather like watch like Star Wars or something sci-fi instead of that. But like,
a lot of people find it awkward to play in Middle Earth because they expect, when's Bilbo going to wander by, or when's Gandalf going to show up, or Aragorn, or Legolas, or whoever.
It just, playing with this rule set, it uses a D6 plus a D12. The D12 goes 1 through 10, plus I have Sauron and a Gandalf rune. The Gandalf rune counts as an automatic success. So I like the fact that you basically have a 1 in 12 chance of getting a success, even if you're not really good at something. Like, I like that. I like the fact that you've got hope to kind of like, and there's even a hope mechanic to add more D6s to roll with that D12. But it's like there's something about rolling a D12, knowing that, okay, I've got a 1 in 12 chance that I can probably succeed. Yep. Like, it doesn't feel as bad as rolling a D20.
When you're able to get like a D6, you're like, exactly. Ooh, this is rough.
So yeah.
The shadow mechanic is nice too, actually. The touch by shadow mechanic, I like that a lot. Good.
Yeah.
That was an excellent way to implement that.
I never played the first edition, I'll be honest. So like I said, this second edition just kind of threw me for, caught me off guard, and I really enjoyed it. I will say that Freely did a great job with the starter set as well.
Yeah, that map in the starter set is so gorgeous. So
even if you're a slight fan of Tolkien, I think this is worth picking up, and it is definitely a huge factor in the success of 2022 for tabletop RPGs is this new edition. And I was so glad that I enjoyed, because I usually like Freely games. I don't know if that's well known or not, but
I heard a thing or two.
But this one definitely I was like, maybe this will be something that I might not be as into. But man, I really, really dug it. So yeah, check it out. The One Ring from Freely Publishing / Sophisticated Games. The core rulebook's awesome, and so was the starter.
Mm-hmm. It has that nice fabric cover feel to it as well, which I love.
A nice texture.
Freely does such a great job of that.
Yeah. All right, Jason. I think this is your number 2, right?
Yes, my number 2 really fought hard for me. I am a huge fan of this system in general. And it is Index Card RPG, the Master Edition by Runehammer. It's a very simple, I shouldn't even say simple. It's a stripped down version of your standard fantasy role-playing game. Basically, they took all the mechanics and took a good hard look at them and said, do I need this, or is it just a representation of something? If it was just a representation, it got tossed. So you don't have stats. You have bonuses. You still have all of your major game abilities. You know, you have your strength and your dexterity and that sort of thing, but all you have is a bonus. You don't have a score listed to it because the score isn't really relevant. Only your bonus is, because your bonus is what modifies your dice rolling. You use all of the polyhedrals. Each one has a different function in the game, and it all represents effort towards beating a target number. Every room comes with a target number. So your dungeon master will say, hey, the difficulty for this room is 12. Everyone rolls on that target. Nobody's got anything different. There's no different armor classes. There's no stats. There's no tables to look at. If the DM says, hey, the difficulty of this room is a 12, everyone is rolling to beat a 12. That's it. And it has the standard modifiers for rolling systems. There's easy, there's regular, and there's hard. Easy being a -3 to the difficulty, hard being +3 to the difficulty. And all of your dice roll towards effort. So you have a D4 represents a certain kind of effort. Usually it's tools. A D6 might be weapon effort. So all of your weapons have the same effort. So that's the only real difference that you have. You roll, like say you roll, you have a longsword, you roll your D6, you roll 6. If you have +3 strength and your sword maybe gives you another point or 2, that's your total damage. So rogues do the same, have the same damage potential as a fighter. Wizards, same thing. And then it's all just the loot that you have that modifies what you roll. So it's a very intuitive, very easy system. It's designed to be fluid. So your dungeon master will say, hey, you've beaten 5 of the 7 goblins in this room. I'm going to crank the difficulty of the room down by 2 points. So it's a very dynamic, very fluid system as well. And it's so ridiculously open-ended for creation because monster stat blocks are only hearts, a couple of special abilities, and that's it. So when you want to create a character, you can just say, hey, I want to make an uber orc. So you just maybe give him an extra heart or give him an extra point of damage on something. You know, it's that simple to create for this game. But the PDF has everything you need. It comes with the entire book, and all of the print and play assets are provided as well. Nice. Runehammer Brandish Skillhelm is what he goes by on the forums, or that's who he is. He will provide you with anything and everything he can to help you play this game. He is that involved in his own game. He's had so many people come by and who are like, hey, I can't afford the PDF. And he's like, well, you know, maybe if you hang around for a while, I'll drop you one. You know, he's that kind of guy.
Nice. Yeah, I love Runehammer's art. I think it's really
it's very iconic. This is the copy of the Deluxe Master Edition. This is the Mage Lock that he puts on a lot of his artwork.
Nice.
I bought this thing so instantaneously that I bought it from the wrong store.
Okay, all right.
He was like, hey, it's live on the store. And I was like, bye. And then afterwards he was like, it's live on the American store. And I'm like, wait, what? Where did I buy this from?
Oh, so you bought it from...
I bought it from the United Kingdom, which actually was a good thing because it got to me faster than the folks in the States.
So this is a game that you've always, I mean, all year long.
Oh yeah, this is my system that my go-to system for everything. Yeah.
So at one point, I actually went out and I tried to find a copy of this just so that I could bring it in. I'm like, if Jason's raving about this, I need to bring it. I need to see what he's talking. I need to, you know, just pick up a copy. It was sold out everywhere. Like, yeah, you couldn't find a copy for a long time. And that kind of tells you how popular it was in 2022. I do think that Modifius went back out and did another print run.
Yeah,
so
they did do another print run. And now Runehammer himself has a storefront set up. If you just Google Runehammer, it'll probably pop up. He can sell it. Well, he does sell not the master edition right now because he doesn't have any copies of it left again. They've already, I think the second printing is actually almost completely sold out as well.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah. But if you can get a copy of the collector's edition version, it's worth it. It's a beautiful book.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to pick one up because at this point, Jason, it's on your top 5, and I heard about it all in 2022. So
he just came out with one of the guys on the forum actually asked, and he said, "Yeah, sure, take the assets, do what you want." There's a Foundry module for ICRPG available from the Runehammer store. Patrons of his got it for free, which I'm one of. It has everything you need to play. The entire core rulebook is in the Foundry module. Wow. So if you want to play virtually with your friends, it has all the character creation, it has all the assets, and it's literally drag and drop onto your character sheet. So you don't have to be typing or anything like that. If you get a piece of loot, click, drag, drop, it's on your sheet, go. Beautifully done.
Gray Day says you can order a print copy on drive-through.
Yes.
Oh, can you get the master edition though on drive-through?
No, you cannot get the master edition through drive-through RPG.
Master edition.
You can get sorry, that's not true. You can get the master edition. You can't get the collector's version. That's the difference. You get just the softcover version, which is still, I mean, it has everything. You're not getting anything extra in the master edition. It's just pretty, and I like it.
Yeah. Again, it's one of those things where it's like, I don't mind paying a little extra to have a little nicer product. But yeah,
actually, Dirigo, they do have their own version. They have ICVTT that is also made by one of the guys on the forum, which you can use completely for free if you join their forums. They will give you access to it. It doesn't have the rule book in there, so you're going to need the rule book yourself. But it has all the dice mechanics. It has target number options. It has lots of icons you can drag and drop. It's a very stripped down, easy to use VTT.
Very cool. All right, I'll get to my number 2. My number 2 is actually an RPG that's based on a board game, and it's by a company that does PBTA games, probably the best in the industry. They're known for some of their best, their PBTA games, Powered by the Apocalypse games. I think most of all, this is a game that I think was originally supposed to be out in 2021, but of course, with everything that was going on, got delayed into 2022. It actually shipped, I think, towards the end of 2021, and finally got to backers the beginning part of 2022, and that would be Root, the RPG from Magpie Games. This is a beautiful, amazing PBTA game. And if you want to play like a woodland creature that's super cute, that actually, even though they're cute, there's some like really great dynamics.
There's a lot of badass cute creatures.
Exactly. They did a great job with there's an alliance an alliance mechanic, I believe. I think that's how it's called, where basically if you interact with certain different alliances or factions in woodland community, in this world, I guess, sometimes you have better you're more well known, or you might be notorious for something. If you love if you haven't played a PBTA game and you like the Root board game, this is a must buy. This is just super well done, and it was well worth the wait. I actually have both copies. I don't know where it's down there. I've got both copies. I've got the special edition. I've got the regular edition, just because I think it's really great. I love the fact that they took this board game. They didn't give you a whole lot of background on the board game, like the world itself. They kind of leave it open to the players to kind of interpret. And so not only are you living in this board game world that Root takes place in, but you're also kind of like creating your own canon for it, which I thought was super cool. The other thing that I will tell folks, that if you pick up the core rulebook, you also want to pick up the Travelers and Outsiders book. I feel like that adds a lot more to the core rulebook. You can play just the core rulebook by itself, but I think having both books is definitely the better option with this game. Beautiful, again, another company that does some really high quality books. Of course, now they've got Avatar coming out, so I think I'd love to see more Root supplements coming out later on in the year for this year, but we'll see. I don't know if this is it for this Root RPG.
I don't think it is. I was talking to one of the folks that was repping for Magpie at Comic-Con, and she said there's still lots to come from Root.
Nice.
If anything, the roadblock I think she's mentioned might be the artwork. Actually, they were waiting for artwork because the fellow that does the artwork is extremely busy right now.
He's pretty much their artist for all their games.
He's quite busy right now. And I got to look at the books though, and man, are they pretty! It's not really a game that I'm super interested in as a regular player of that kind of thing. Yeah. But man, those books, you pick that book up and you want to take it home. You want to adopt the book as a pet.
I think it's kind of what I hoped Mouse Guard was. Like, I'm not a huge
Yeah.
burning wheel system guy, so
Yeah.
I really like when I saw this was coming out by Magpie. I was super excited because I knew that I love
Yeah.
PBTA games. If anybody's going to do a really solid PBTA game, it's going to be Magpie.
Yeah.
And they did a great job with this game. And
Mouse Guard tried to be a little too edgy.
Yeah.
It was a little bit too down and dirty. Like, it was more like, to reference a video game that folks might know for it, is A Plague's Tale Requiem. Is very, it's that sort of gritty darkness kind of rats and creatures.
This doesn't quite have that. It's definitely, but there are some great,
There's lots of opportunity for that if you want to play like that.
Absolutely.
But the system on its face doesn't say, we're gritty and dark. We're just like, hey, we're cute little adorable animals and we have axes.
and if you haven't taken a look at this, there's a couple quick starts that you can download. They did some free RPG quick starts. So there's like three different, I think, quick start products. There's like a basic quick start and then a couple different ones that kind of have adventures in them. Go download those.
They're all freely available. They don't cost a penny yet.
Just to see if it's something that you'd like. So yeah, my number 2 is Root, the RPG for Magpie Games. All right, Jason, go for it. Your number 2.
My number 1. We're down to my number 1.
I'm sorry, your number 1.
Yes. My number 1 is no surprise. Well, maybe a little bit of a surprise to some folks. Is Cyborg from Stockholm Cartel, based on the Mork Borg engine. This is a beefed up version of a dystopian cyberpunk style world. If you've ever wanted to play cyberpunk in a world that is on its last legs, where you're down in the sludge and the grime and the crud with the bad guys trying to make your way and not get wasted, this is the game for you. Where it differs from a lot of things like Cyberpunk Red and stuff like that is this is a much less hope-filled game. It's much more about scraping by and getting, like, just, making it to your next, making it to the next mission, or surviving as long as you can. It's all about the grim darkness of a cyberpunk world, and it is such a gorgeous book, and it reads so amazingly well. Every page has lore for the world, but it's the kind of lore where it's just a couple of lines and then you get to imagine the rest. There's no 3-page dissertation on what every corporation has. All they say is, hey, this corporation specializes in body modification, and they're scummy about it, and they do all kinds of terrible experiments on people. And that's all you know. After that, it's up to you to make up the rest of it if you want. And then, but it's all based on the Mork Borg engine, so it's really easy to pick up and play. All the character creation is the same way. There's tables to roll on if you want to do that, or you can make your own character. And it's just it's an excellent raffle stomp of a game. Not for kids.
No.
The theming of this game is definitely not children oriented. You could remove all of that if you don't want to show kids the book, because the imagery in the book, while not specifically terrible, is definitely not bedtime story worthy for children.
I got to see an early copy of this at Gen Con, and I loved it. It's definitely a lot thicker game than Mork Borg, as far as the book
by
is concerned.
Almost 100 pages, yeah.
This will probably be my go-to cyberpunk RPG. I'm not a big cyberpunk guy. Otherwise, this would probably be higher up on my list. This if we were to do a top 10 list, it like Carbon Gray and Cyborg would be right there, like nipping at the heels of number 5. So it's a great production value. What else? They did a great job. I'm excited for this game, and
I like it because it allows you to play a cyberpunk world with a single book. You don't need any expansions. It's not a big book either. It's a standard Mork Borg size book, and you can be playing in a half an hour at most.
Yeah.
And then it's all just, it's mostly role playing. It really is. There's a few cool combat things that you can do, and there's lots of neat little modifications you can make to your characters, be they body mods or equipment or gear, stuff like that. But this is why I love these games from Stockholm, is because they're pick and play. You don't have to spend, even as the GM, you don't need to spend a week making an adventure up. Just come up with a cool idea, generate a few rooms, and you can even do that. They even have generators for this game, just like they have for Mork Borg.
Yep.
You can generate your own guys, and they have They also have Foundry VTT modules for that, and I think other modules or other VTTs are supported by them. I'm not sure. Maybe Roll20. I'm not entirely sure, but it's super easy to play, and they take all the chunk out of it, and that's what Cyberpunk needs, because so many Cyberpunk games get bogged down in the minutia of the technology and the world. It just drags everything to a halt.
Absolutely. It's a perfect number one. I love it. But my number one was also your number 5, Jason.
Yes.
And I like this one a little bit better than Cyborg. And again, it's a Stockholm Cartel game. Most of the people already know, if they've listened to this show enough.
Gray guessed it right off the bat.
Yeah.
He actually did guess it when you told people to guess. He was like, yep, I got it.
It is Death in Space from Stockholm Cartel. I love this game so much. I think I have I have like, I think 2 or 3 copies of this game, just because I just dig it so much. I love the fact that it just gives you so much player agency. It gives you it takes those Morkborg rules and adds more meat to them. And so you've got your hub, which is like a spaceship or a space.
And you get to build your spaceship.
Yeah.
That's the cool thing about this game. Not only do you get to build your character, you get to build your ship with your group. That is awesome.
Yeah. It's got its own setting that you can actually play in if you want, the Tenebrous system, or you can just kind of make it up, your own system, your own setting if you want.
If you like shows like Firefly, Killjoys, Dark Matter, or movies like Outland, The Expanse, Event Horizon, any of those crazy type sci-fi shows, this is the game that will help you represent that world properly.
Edge of the universe is closing in on everybody, and it's just going to wipe everybody out. And it's bleak, but it's not as bleak as Morkborg is, I think.
No, yes, yeah. Like, this is a world that is, I think they say the universe is shrinking in this game. Yeah. Is that not the mechanic? The universe is actually compacting on itself. So there is that, drive to get things done in a hurry. I mean, you have lots of time if you need it, but this game best represents that sort of play style. So if you want to be just, just like, the Firefly, what is it? What do they say in Firefly? Get a ship, get a crew, do a job, keep flying. Yep. Like that's this right here. Like, yep. I didn't particularly like the Expanse RPG when it came out, but I kind of want to pick it up as a PDF right now to use as setting fodder for Death in Space.
There's like a whole bunch of Mothership like adventures that I've picked up to just specifically run this in. In fact, we did one on this show where we kind of modified it and played it for Death in Space, because there's
pigs in space,
and that's the beauty of that game, right? It's just so easy to kind of just pick up and plug in and play. And again, this has an online generator, so if you want to just spit out a character real quick, you can. If you want to do a hub or some sort of space station, it can generate that for you too, and you can just get up and going and playing. And I love this. Christian Carl did a great job on this product. I love the foil. Again,
this is the deluxe edition. If you wanted the deluxe fancy cover, I didn't get that one. I'm a little bit torn now that I have this one. Every time I see the original one, I think I might just end up picking up a copy of that as well.
I love this game. Like, it literally. Like, if anybody were to say, "Hey, let's play Death in Space," I'd be like, "Okay, let's go right now."
Oh yeah, for sure, yeah. I was really bummed when I couldn't make the last actual play that you guys did. That really, because I wanted to continue my character, because that was one of the cool things about Death in Space, and even Cyborg. On top of that, is everyone knows that Morkborg is very fatalistic. Like, you have a couple of hit points at best, and you can die. You're so squishy, you die all the time.
Sure,
it's not a long form game really, but in Death in Space and in Cyborg, there's survivability options available to you. Like, you have more hit points, you have more options to stay alive, and there's a point to staying alive in Death in Space. It's not designed to be a meat grinder where you die and the next door over another character steps out and says, "Hey guys, I'm here to play."
A great day also says you had both my 3 and 5, my 3 of my 5 Ironsworn Mazes, One Ring. I have Into the Odd and Swords of the Serpentine. I actually thought Into the Odd was going to be on your top 5 list.
I was It's only 5. It's only 5, Doug.
Right. Into the Odd would have been in my top 10. Let's put it that way. It probably would have been maybe 9 or 10, but it would have been on my top 10.
Yeah. I haven't heard of Swords of the Serpentine. I'm gonna have to look that up.
Yeah, I'll have to look at that too. So, all right. If you have a game that you would like to suggest us to check out that we didn't mention in this top 5 list, let us know in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. And Jason, I want to thank you for giving your top 5 list again for 2022. We'll have to have you back on for top 5 list for 2023. How about that?
Sure. Yeah. Kept it under an hour. I'm looking at my clock right now.
I will remind folks that if you enjoy these top 5 lists, hit that like button down below. And if you are coming across our content for the very first time, we'd love to have you as a subscriber. So hit that subscribe button. We do all sorts of content here. So we try to do it fairly regularly when I'm not on the road doing events and appearances and stuff. So yeah, I'm excited for 2023. It's going to be a great year for RPGs. It's going to be another great year for RPGs, which is awesome to see.
I'm happy to see things like getting back in flow again. It's so great.
All right, that's going to do it for this this top 5 list. Remember, winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us. This video is brought to you by Black Moon Games. Check out their products at shop-black-moon.com. Thanks so much for watching this video. If you would be so kind, make sure you hit that like, comment, and subscribe, all the YouTube jazz that we're supposed to do here. It really is greatly appreciated. And if you'd like to support us more, you can check us out on Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/victoryconditiongaming. We have all sorts of Patreon perks, and it definitely helps support